Hey everyone, welcome to the What's New in Microsoft EDU August 2025 edition. For those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, it's back to school time. I know in the Southern Hemisphere it's not, so I'm not saying August is always back to school. It just is for Northern Hemisphere. And in terms of the agenda, we've got a packed house today, so we'll just get rolling. And before we do, there's been a lot of requests this summer for ISTE. That's the big EdTech conference in the US. But in particular, we had a bunch of presentations and our session decks and our live learn classroom decks. Here's a link for that. So if you want to download all those decks, they're beautiful. You can use them yourself. You can use them in your school. You can present for PD, whatever you want. Definitely check that out. And we're also going to have this entire deck available for people to download at the end of this session, and we're also recording this and we'll be posting it live on YouTube. And another one, just before we get going, these are fantastic quick guides created by an MI expert named Heather Aird, Miss Aird. And these are for all of our different products. So they're a great, fun, one-page, colorful handouts you can use for PD or pass out in your school to other teachers. The latest things in Word or OneNote or Reflect or the Learning Accelerators or Teams, it's all there. To move on to Copilot, our first topic, the biggest announcement is that Copilot Chat, now this is available for anyone who has M365. It's not a special paid piece. This is just a chat. This is now available for students who are 13 or older. This is fully rolled out to general availability. It's off by default, so if you want to enable it for your students, IT administrators have to do that. We've got some beautiful detailed instructions on how IT admins can enable it right in this blog. And this has the latest and greatest. We're actually rolling out ChatGPT 5 for folks that want to use that as well. And we have enterprise data protection, which is critical. So we don't train against your model. We don't train the model against your chat inputs and your data that you put in. And it's all safe, secure, protected, local to your country as well. And you can find Copilot Chat in many places. It's in the web, it's in the Copilot app itself, you can find it in the Edge browser sidebar or mobile. So lots of great places. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Leif Brenna, who's going to talk about our M365 Copilot teacher tools.
Thank you, Mike. I will talk about some new features that are now available for people with the M365 Copilot license for functionality. So a couple of things inside assignments here. We have now added the ability for you to have AI help you with your feedback to students. Now it's all based on teachers' input, so the teacher can use the feedback as a scratch pad, and then of course click enhance feedback. It will take your input and help you write clear feedback to students. You can also adjust it and change it to different tones you're looking for. So it's all built in directly into assignments. So hopefully streamline that form, because we know it takes a long time of your time to give feedback. You want to make that as personalized and efficient as possible. We also do the same thing for not only text, but taking for people using rubrics. So we know people love rubrics, and it's a great way to get kind of quick guidance for students. But now when you do grading with the rubrics in assignments, we can take your input of rubrics and automatically summarize those things for you as a feedback as well. So again, a quick way to do the feedback directly in assignments. We also added for people with M365 Copilot license the ability to use standards in rubric generation. So we already have functionality of using rubrics, but if you have M365, we now add the ability for you to add standards as part of the rubrics creation. So this adding standards will help you make the rubrics even more kind of tailored to that particular standard you're looking for. In this case, I'm choosing Texas as a case, different grades and subject and so forth. We support over 36 countries standards within, of course, each country's multiple standards, and that's automatically built into the system. So we use standards for both rubrics and a lesson plan as well. It's coming soon, but this is all available for all of you guys right now. So it's a new quick way to do that in rubrics. Speaking of standards, one thing that are in preview right now for people with M365 Copilot is the ability to use our tools to create quick lesson plans. In this case, we add your name, your subject and your grade, and you can add additional standards, and we automatically create a lesson plan for you. You can always edit and change these things directly. We can give suggestions for any enhancement you want to do. And once you have done your lesson plan, you can save it to Word for further analysis as well. So it's a quick way to get started with things like standards, objectives, and materials directly into lesson plans. So it is currently in preview, and it should be general availability in next month. And we're also adding the ability for us to do flashcards. So flashcard is a quick way for educators to create content for students to kind of practice and reinforce concept. We will take any document you have or content, and then build on those content, we will automatically generate flashcards for you. Now, in this case, I'm looking at biology, and for each card, I can now choose to add images to make it more interactive for students. You see in this case, we use images. You can search images directly. We do that for you. By default, we add 5 flashcards for you, but also going to generate more flashcards as you go along. Once you have created your flashcards, you can now go in and add more images in this case here, but you can also add in a preview to see the experience as well. So for a student, they will see his flashcard, they can say, I checked it, I know this, or maybe I need more help. So it's a quick way to actually iterate and reinforce concept in your tool. And once you're happy with the things, you can share it with your student. So far, we have seen all this functionality built into Teams. So people using classwork or assignment will have this functionality. We're also enhancing the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. So this is kind of central hub for you to do search, chat, all your agents directly into Copilot. And now we're adding a Teach application as well, and Teach module. And this is a way for you to do things like curriculum planning, resource planning, lining, adapting your content as well. So let's run a quick video how that will work. So you see now all these experiences you have right now, plus many more coming in the future, will be hosted inside this Teach application inside M365 Copilot. And with that, I'm going to give it over to Samantha talking about our new experiences for the LTI.
Hi, everybody. I'm Samantha, and I'm really excited to talk to you about our new Microsoft Education LTI. So if you don't know what LTI is, that's Learning Tools Interoperability. It basically means a tool that can integrate with your learning management system. So if you have a learning management system like Canvas or Schoology or Blackboard or Moodle or D2L Brightspace or any other LTI 1.3 LTI Advantage compliant learning management system, you can now use all of the Microsoft Education tools right within one app, within one experience. It only takes one install, one download, as you can see here. There's a bunch of different apps that are in option, so I'll actually do a screen share and show you a live demo of what this looks like. But the really great thing is now schools just have to install one Microsoft Education integration, and teachers can customize and pick the tools that they want to use. We also have the ability to create Teams assignments, which includes all of our awesome Learning Accelerators functionality right within the LMS as well. So I will show what this looks like here in a second. But do keep in mind, this will work in any learning management system you have. I'm happy to provide my contact information if you'd like to learn how to get this set up in your LMS. And this has been a huge request from our customers for a long time to be able to integrate all of our tools really seamlessly into their learning management system experience. So right here, I'm in Canvas. I have Canvas and Schoology pulled up just to show two different learning management systems, but this works in a bunch of different LMSs. Like I mentioned, all of the major LMSs are supported now. So this is the Microsoft Education LTI. This allows me to get access to OneDrive. I can see all my files, OneNote class notebook, Teams meetings, and Microsoft Teams, Reflect, Reading Coach, and Insights. So really cool stuff here. If I click on Reflect, I'll show you what that looks like. This will actually open up the whole Reflect experience. I can create check-ins to share with my students and go through all of the awesome Reflect features. And then I can go toggle between any of these experiences. And when I'm setting this up as an educator, I'm prompted to turn on which of these tools I want to use. I can turn all of them on, which I've done, of course, in this case. But if I'm only using a subset of these tools, I can easily turn those off and my students won't see those tools. I'll also show what it looks like in Schoology. So this is a Schoology learning management system. We have the Microsoft Education option here too. So if I hit Add Materials, I have Microsoft Education. Now we have that left rail experience, but I can also add an assignment here. So I have the ability to open a OneDrive file. This would allow me to distribute a file to my students, a Word document, a PowerPoint document, an Excel document. I can create a new assignment or a forms quiz. This is super popular. And then we have all of our awesome learning accelerators. So Mike will talk about these a little bit more later. But these are our tools that give students real-time coaching and feedback on their key skills like reading, math, public speaking, and their digital and information literacy as they search the web. And those are built right into the LMS now too. So I can select speaker progress. All right, awesome. So now, just like I was in Teams, I would have the opportunity to create a speaker progress assignment here. So I can select speaker coach items. So I'm turning on all of these awesome things that I want speaker coach to track, including the pace, the filler words, the pitch, the body language. I can turn on AI feedback even and set all sorts of things. And then when I select next, I'm going to call this speech number 3. I can give instructions. I can give it points. And I can go ahead and save this, and this will now show up in my Schoology class. And now students will just be able to go into the LMS, do the speech, get the real-time feedback, grades completely sync back, so there's no need to go anywhere else. You can do all of your grading within the LMS and review all of your students' work right within the learning management system, and then you can also see rich insights. So really, really powerful here. All right, I'm going to stop sharing, and the deck will get pulled back up. Yeah, and Life dropped TJ's email in the chat. If you want to reach out to him, please go ahead and do so. Okay, there we go. Now the gifts are loading for me. And then we'll also have embedded M365 Copilot coming as well. So that Copilot experience, as you can see, you can summarize, you can create FAQ, all these things. That will all be available through the LTI as well. In that OneDrive experience, you'll be able to access Copilot. Ooh, I didn't take control. Let me go ahead and take control. All right, perfect. I'm now going to pass it on to Anu to talk about Study Guide.
Thank you, Sam, and hello, everyone. Let me take control here. All right, one of the other features that we're working on that's coming out later this fall, or if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, later this spring, is the Study Guide. Study Guide is going to be available in M365 Copilot notebooks. Copilot notebooks are the best of OneNote, Copilot, and a piece of technology we developed called Loop that is really great for collaboration. We fused them all together and we developed M365 Copilot notebooks. Copilot notebooks are actually available to you today. They're generally available already, and they go beyond note-taking. I think of Copilot notebooks as the one place where you can bring together all the resources, documents, PDFs, URLs, everything on a given topic, and then use the intelligence of Copilot to reason over the content that is contained in all of those documents to understand, prioritize, apply, recall, gather, all of that together. Now, within Copilot notebooks, which are also available in OneNote, we're building a feature called Study Guide that will be available for students to use starting this fall, or if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, in spring. Let's take a look at what Study Guide will bring to Copilot notebooks. Here it is.
We're going to show a study guide inside of a Copilot notebook. So first, let's set up that Copilot notebook. We're going to give it a name, Anatomy of the Heart. Click Create. Now we're going to describe what's inside of that Copilot notebook. So we did that. And then next up, we're going to have some references suggested. So everything from Word documents, YouTube videos, lecture notes, etc. And then click create. And it's created my Copilot notebook with those references. Now, one of the options I get is a study guide. And this is new. We'll click study guide. And here's some suggested pages: summary, topic pages, flashcards, even options like quizzes and other learning activities like fill in the blanks and future ones to come. So I'll click create, and it's creating those pages. And there we go. And in the upper left in OneNote, you're going to see those pages. The first one we'll go to is summary. So it has an overview, why this matters, key topics, glossary. It's got all sorts of great info right there, even common misconceptions, things like that, and next steps. Another page it might have is structures. So structures and layers of the heart, great info here. Now I can also have flashcards automatically generated. So I'm going to click on the flashcards pages. And right here we have interactive embedded flashcards, and the education team has created this concept. So you can see the flashcards here. When I'm done with my flashcards, I can have the option to repractice or start over or generate a new round. Other pages in the study guide that you can create are quizzes, and this is from Copilot Inform. So here's an interactive embedded quiz. I can also have things like fill in the blanks. The education team is building this learning activity. And then when I'm done, I can have all sorts of progress tracked automatically: flashcards, quizzes, time spent studying, and other suggestions on studying other topics.
All right, that's study guide, the features that we're working on to bring to you pretty soon. The purpose of the study guide is really to foster thinking in students, not over-reliance, practicing with those interactive activities that foster retention and to master concepts and ideas over time. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mike to talk to you about Learning Zone.
Okay, so Learning Zone. Learning Zone is a brand new app that is part of the Copilot Plus PC. So what is a Copilot Plus PC? That is a new type of PC that has the AI model on board, meaning it's called a small language model. So it's an SLM, not a large language model, which is an LLM like ChatGPT. But an SLM it's not as powerful as a full large language model, but it fits on the PC, and we can run AI locally or natively on the device. And so Microsoft Learning Zone is available. It's really tailored for educators to create interactive lessons on the device, and you can share those lessons with your students who can work on those and give data back to the teacher. So I'm going to show a little video here. It's got a bumping soundtrack, and you can get a sense of how this. So that is the Learning Zone app. And what's nice is that's just gone into public preview. We also have partnerships with content providers. So you can use your own content, like you saw, upload documents, PowerPoint decks, PDFs, etc. You can also add content. So places like OpenStax, we have a partnership with. We have Figma, NASA, Minecraft, and we've been adding a bunch more. So if you want to join the preview, it is right here, and you need a Copilot Plus PC to do it. So those are pretty new, so not everyone has those yet. We actually expect within a couple of years, every PC is going to be a Copilot Plus PC, and everyone will be able to run AI locally. But the world isn't quite there yet, so we have early adopters. So if you're one of those folks, you can sign up for that preview. Moving along, learning accelerators. These are our AI-enhanced tools really focusing on foundational and future-ready skills. And these are free. They're built both into teams, and as you saw from Samantha, they're also now available in different learning management systems, which is super cool. So things like reading progress, math progress, reflect, speaker progress, search, and insights. And in terms of where they go into the platform, you can see here, these are the learning accelerators across the top. The biggest update I will say in terms of reading progress, the number one feature request has been the ability for educators to turn on a switch that lets the student see the comprehension questions right next to the reading passage. So in the past, it used to be you'd see the reading passage as a student, and then you'd finish, and then the comprehension questions would come up, and the student couldn't go back to those reading passages. Now there's an option for the educator to say, let them see them both at the same time. So here's an example of kind of what that looks like right here. So that's fully rolled out and available today. If you didn't know that, give it a try. And then the other one we have are math progress updates. These are our top 2 requests from educators for math progress. That Learning Accelerator rolled out back in December, January timeframe. Now you can add images as well as graphs to your math problems. So this is an example of adding a graph to the math progress question that gets generated. And this is just an example where an educator added an image to go along with the question. So those are fully rolled out. Those were top requests. In terms of speaker progress, and that was what Samantha showed briefly in the LMS, we've added some new languages recently, things like Polish and I think Dutch and Swedish and a couple others. And we have even more languages coming this September. You can see right here in the right-hand column. So that's going to be rolling out very soon. And then lastly, for speaker progress, it's in preview now, and I think it's going to roll out broadly in September at no cost, is AI narrative feedback. So the educator can turn on a switch that says, analyze that student transcript that was recorded in the speaker progress recording, and things like could be informative or personal or persuasive. You can say, I'd like to check for delivery, different content types, or audience engagement. And what that means is, in addition to the regular speaker coach feedback, on the educator side, there's this new transcript little tab. And we have a transcript of the entire presentation, and AI drafts up a summary feedback and even highlights parts of the transcript in terms of that content or delivery or engagement. And again, this is all drafted so the teacher can do it and choose to tweak it or edit it and then push that back. So this allows much deeper and regular feedback on student presentations and speaker progress. And that should be rolled out broadly in September. And now I'm going to pass it back to Anu, who's going to talk about reading coach updates.
All right. Thank you, Mike. All right. Many of you are already familiar with Reading Coach, and if you're not, you can get more familiar with it with the link I just shared in the chat. It's at coach.microsoft.com. We have some updates coming to Reading Coach. The first update for Reading Coach this season is that it is going to have a new dark mode theme. That background is dark. It has neon accents. There is a different avatar that is your coach. So we're bringing this to Reading Coach to make it appealing to older learners. We hear that Reading Coach is regularly used by older learners. So that's the reason why we're bringing this new theme to Reading Coach. Of course, users can go back and use the original theme. They can switch. They can also mix and match the voice that is used and the coach avatar with any of the light theme or the dark theme. So that's coming up for Reading Coach. The next thing that's coming up for Reading Coach is we have some engagement.
The slide doesn't go up.
Okay, oh yeah, I need to take control. Sorry about that. All right. So the next thing that's coming up for Reading Coach is that we have engagement tips in Reading Coach that will help learners develop that consistent reading practice habit. So that when they come over the next 2 weeks, once the feature rolls out, they will be nudged and suggestions will be made of the things that they can use in Reading Coach, the different content that they can bring in. We will even have a suggestion for them to be able to generate content using Copilot, which I'll show you briefly, but also an ability for them to share their progress with their teachers and with parents. So that's coming up next. Also, already students can and learners can create content using Copilot. Many of you have told us about that. So we built that in as a tip for them. You can go into Copilot, bring it up from Edge in the top right corner, click on that icon and ask for the content to be created. Ideate with Copilot if you want to create the story that you want or passage that you want. You can create it in multiple different languages and then paste it in Reading Coach. Reading Coach will then detect the language that the content is in up to 80 different languages and then read it out aloud in Reading Coach. So That's coming up as well. That already exists. We're just emphasizing it so students feel like they have agency over the content that they're reading. Also, educators can use that feature. Also, the Reading Coach progress information is now available through the Insights API for school districts and school leaders to build their own dashboards. This API is also available for Reading Progress and for Reflect. So if you want to correlate data between Reading Progress and Reading Coach, independent use and educator-led use of the reading tools, you can do that. The information for the Reading Coach API is at ak.ms/Reading Coach Insights. And finally, this season, we're bringing 2 webinars on Reading Coach. One is especially for librarians. That one is actually tomorrow at 11 a.m. PST, and I'll put a link to the information in the chat. So for your school librarians or librarians in your community, they can join the Reading Coach webinar, learn about how to bring Reading Coach to their libraries. And also we have another one coming up next week where Emma and I will be talking about the new features in Reading Coach, all the learnings from our summer webinars on how to bring Reading Coach into your classroom, including lots of classroom materials to emphasize reading practice. So that's it for Reading Coach. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Emma to round us out.
Hello, everybody. Looks like I've successfully taken control here. I'm here with some OneNote updates. I'll drop some links in the chat. They're linked in the deck as well. The first is some very long-awaited features in OneNote all up, so not just Class Notebook, but across the board. We can merge table cells now, which I think has been a request for so many years at this point. So very excited to see that. I use merge table cells all the time in every other Office app, so it's so cool to see that in OneNote now, finally. And you're able to paste without formatting, which is another really wonderful thing, especially if you're copying content from multiple places. You're able to put that straight into the page with your Control or Command Shift Z, or Control or Command Shift V, or alternatively your Keep Text Only button that shows up in that Paste Options menu once you paste something in. Samantha mentioned this, but of course we have Class Notebook in the new Microsoft 365 LTI. So the older OneNote Class Notebook integration still works in your LTI. It's a 1.1 level integration. It no longer automatically syncs the roster from your class. That had to go away, but in this new Microsoft 365 LTI, that feature is back, which means that anyone who's using Class Notebook in any of our LTI 1.3 Advantage compatible learning management systems, which is all of the major ones at this point, you will get live changes in your Class Notebook as students join that class. And so that's a super handy feature. This is where all of our Class Notebook LTI updates will live moving forward. And we're super excited about that too. So I've included the link to the documentation there. The final thing to note, just a reminder, we announced this back in January of 2024, but so many people still haven't quite found it yet. When you go into OneNote settings in the OneNote app on Windows, you can now turn on the Class Notebook toolbar by yourself without needing to separately download that downloadable add-in. So for so many years, the way to turn on the Class Notebook toolbar for OneNote on Windows was to go and download the add-in to install it manually. You don't need to do that anymore. Just go straight into settings, turn it on yourself. That's where all of the updates will come in the future. You only need to do it once. And it's also something that will hopefully just make everybody's lives a little bit easier. So that is everything from me. And I think we'll turn it over to Mike to bring us home.
Great, thanks, Emma. So we're just going to wrap up and then open it up for questions. We've got some nice links and resources here: AI for Educators, AI Classroom Toolkit, Copilot Starter Kit, etc. Lots of links to our blogs. We just had a What's New in EDU blog that has a ton of stuff that came out on Tuesday. I think it might have gotten posted in the chat a little earlier. We've got our OneNote EDU blog that Emma put out, Copilot Chat for students, and a bunch of other stuff. So this entire deck is actually downloadable. I'll actually put this up on the screen so you can get this deck. You can download it, you can share it.